Hey everyone, I'm Tassinix, and welcome to Plotting and Scheming, covering Season 64, 3 vs 3 Grand Arena Championship, Week 1. I always somehow forget to mention, our show is focused around the top 100 of, Kyber 1 in Grand Arena Championship. Anyways, I am joined here by my regular co-hosts, TJ, Sasha Aisha, and Fatal. Dagger will be running along, joining us a bit later in the show. Gentlemen, good to talk to you again. It was a eventful week. I had an Erodium round 1, also an Erodium round 1 of this week. And then 2 great matches against You Can't Say Imperator, and I did manage to win both, so an actual 3-0. It's been a little bit. TJ, how about you?
2-1 faced our alliance mate, I guess. Poe. Great match. I, of course, had to walk in trying some stuff and doing it the TJ way. And then the other two, round 2, the one we streamed, only attacked once. Not a fan of 3s, I guess. And then the other one, it went to plan, I guess. I didn't get a chance to do the PNSing with you and still came out good. So I'll take my 2-1 and now it's like I looked and now I got Sigamaru in my group and Poe again. So it should be a pretty fun week this week.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I think I only have Arsenal and Zid as legitimate contenders in my bracket.
Your other brothers, right? Your other brother from other.
Yeah,
brothers,
man.
right?
I mean, what would it be without going more than a week without fighting either Arsenal or Zid or Pumper?
I'm waiting to hear when Sasha starts entering the fray, right? Because you get to that bracket, you are just bracketed with those two. It's like your 2 testicles that come with you everywhere you go, right? It's the other 2 brothers because at one point you're in that triangle of love.
Very fair.
Yeah.
Very fair.
Interestingly enough, that's not how I think of them, but yeah.
So let's hear from you then, Sasha. How was your week? What went down?
So every day is February 2nd. It was Groundhog Day for me again. I had a couple Erodiums. I had one real match that was over probably before I attacked, because so I faced Aesop. He did a nice job, held enough to one-shot me, and at that point, particularly because it was the only match I had, I out of the gate tried something that I wasn't totally sure about, dropped, and that was actually liberating. It ended up meaning, all right, I'm not going to win. So I tried a variety of different things. I meant to come back to it, but ended up having some family obligations kept me away from doing every attack I would have liked, but I did get to try a bunch. So for one match, I had a decent amount of learnings, but that was my Groundhog Day.
That's par for the course for you, man. I'm pretty close. I'm not far from you. When I checked earlier today, this is before I guess a bunch of other Erodiums got added in. But if you removed all of the Erodiums that were in between me and everybody above me up to that point, I would have been like rank 5. So it's like I feel like I'm within a stone's throw getting to fight you and Aesop again soon. I'm rooting for it. I don't want to hope too much though.
I'd love to have you help us mix it up a bit there. So looking forward to that task. And by the way, since I think Dagger may join late or may not be able to make it, but I did want to add on his behalf, fuck you and your hat looks stupid. So
it's like he's with us even now.
Dude, I'm actually kind of offended.
That's honestly.
You don't F-bomb here, Sasha. So for you to do that, you save those for when they're really important.
Basically, 95% of representing Daggers.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of rude because Sasha, you don't F-bomb. That's not what you do.
No, but I'm saying like it's like I don't even have to feel the ghost of his absence. It's right there. He's with it even now.
To me, it's stronger. If Sasha F-bombs you, dude, you have messed up.
I'm sorry, TJ, for offending your delicate sensibilities. You're right. I overstepped. So I'll be more mindful.
Thank you, sir, because I can't handle when you F-bomb. The world is off.
Yeah.
All right. And of course, Fatal, how was your week? Did Hot Utils set you up right for this week? What's the adventure?
Well, interestingly, the adventure is that my Hot Utils issue from last week that put me on my 5v5 mods was not a Hot Utils issue. It was I ran out of mods, which is a thing I didn't know that was possible. Because I only allowed it to backfill in with 5-dot mods, and I had done a massive mod crusade. And so it was the weirdest. All my work was done early, but I was like doing a split fill. I was like, you have 50 free slots remaining. You have 40 free slots remaining. You have 35 free slots remaining. I'm like, what? It looked like a bug, but yeah, the culprit was me. I'm the villain. I just killed too many mods, or I had to turn on allow 6-dot mods.
I did it to myself.
It was a fun week. It should have been a 3-0. It was a 2-1. I shot myself in the foot in like the least interesting way possible. I just did not head count teams. But it was a pretty cool structure to the week because it started off with me looking at my defense from last season, and I was like, I think I'm pranking myself because I think I just like posted a bunch of extra teams in match 9 of last season. And so that rolled over, and that's what I saw. And I was like, this looks wrong, but I'm just going to send it anyway. And it more or less worked. It put me in a position to win all 3 pretty comfortably.
Nice.
So, yeah, fatigue defense, I will say, in my mind's eye, I think I'm extremely punishable at the moment, but no one's doing it. So shout outs to them for that. But yeah, I'm posting 8 Galactic Legends, and like my weakest team is like, I think it's like Saul Luton.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty hideous. Well, yeah, you don't have to. Wow, it's interesting. I'll have to take a look at your attack page and see. Because, yeah, you wouldn't have to set many other teams, so. All right, nice. Guys, I know tonight we're short of time, a little shorter than usual, so I want to get right into it. Meta-analysis. So, set 20 Datacrons, Tales of Woe and Valor. Which gave you the most trouble? Which were you able to find a clever way around? I think a smart way to go about this would be, I guess, first Huck Cartel, strictly for Java. I know folks were talking this week about, do I go with Huck Cartel? Do I go with Smuggler? I don't know if any of you have any tales on that, but I want to see if I have my video still up from earlier.
I went Huck Cartel Tenacity stack and block 2 Night Sisters.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I was going to say,
Huck
right?
Cartel Tenacity stack was great for me as well, and I want to show this to you. This one is Barator's, and this is the DI when they hit 50%, right? So I was sweating thinking about how to do this, and yeah, it just had to be played just the slightest bit mindfully, and it was pretty simple.
Yeah, you just second special to let them out, right?
Yeah, once they were both at DI, yeah, and then you're doing it again with Chrysanthemum. This is also a tank revive 3, so just extra annoying with the coming back crap. But
I had someone vehemently tell me how unplayable the matchup was with DI, and I was like, yeah. All right, man.
Well,
yeah,
I
you're
went
right.
into the matchup, honest to God, planning JMK Cat Mace, and I don't know. The stream was like, I don't know. They think you could probably still DI this test, and I was like, I don't know. Okay, maybe. Let's give it a go, and then then it worked. But yeah, it was a bit of a clinch for a moment, and then once I knew that both sides were down here, and I kind of just started talking to the stream, I forgot that Java himself would end up getting DI. So I'm glad I paid attention for a second so that I, hit it with a third, let him drop it, and then just ran it out. So there's multiple ways for you to jack yourself up on that particular setup. But yes, I also went with the high tenacity Huck Cartel, and nobody attempted Night Sisters on me. So, all right. What about you guys? Any other comments on Huck Cartel versus Smuggler on Java? And then we'll just talk about
I fought against Evasion Smuggler, and it was like, the Evasion shuts off when they have a debuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm hearing, too, from a lot of different places, that is, we're not going to be doing, and I think that was a question we wanted to walk into. I think week 1 clearly shut that down of you're not doing this trick, and I think that's going to apply to what we're seeing for set 20. What are you going to do against these people with this super evasion? Well, you just got defense down. You're done. We'll now just move on to the normal fight as is. And that's literally, I think, the added step. I know there's going to be some winners. There's a couple of winners. that I think the data is showing as to what you're going to want to do with it, but it's very limited in scope.
Like it makes life super easy for something like Lord Vader.
Yeah.
I guess for something like Night Sisters.
Yeah,
But what about JMK? Like, is there just, if you do see it, is there hey, you know, this might specifically jam up JMK?
Unless you are like going for the hardest of reads that like my opponent will always slam JMK here. Why are you gonna try to block JMK and lose the Night Sisters instead of the other way around?
Fair, very fair. It's
I feel like that's just what it is.
That's a good answer to a reasonable question. I would expect that would be an FAQ for this week.
A lot of people felt that way. I saw a lot of people hyping up smugglers, and it's like, brother,
yeah,
this is a 2-minute fight for me. Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate your hard work.
All right. Well, appreciate you guys on that. Let's talk about smugglers next. So, standouts. You know, thanks TJ for the recommendation there. Starting in round 2, I ran it for 2 and 3. Sanahando Kara was good to me. It got, I want to say, a combined 5 holds on 2 rounds, something like that. Let's see. I had a Kira L3 Nest that did something for me, believe it or not. What else, smuggler wise? I think that's about it. I might be missing somebody that's obvious, but I think that's it. How about you guys?
Combinations of Sana. I want to know what I'm sure the Sasha had to see something funky, but the combinations and play of Sana are also like money makers, and I'm talking like combinations of BAM lead Sana or adding it in there feels like a real winner. So it's those combos are the packs of what we're doing, right? Everything else feels played out. It doesn't feel any variation. Fatal, did you call it the honest season 3v3? Were you the one who said that? It was either Dagger or Fatal. And again, not calling one the other the same, but it's like, I know there was a very prominent voice, and I was like, ooh, I don't know. And it's like, yes. Because all you're doing with the smuggler stuff is like, here, let me play Malgus. Okay, now you're debuffed. Now we're back to normal fight. What else are we doing? Let's put a debuff here, and then it's like you're back to normal fight. And it's when it's like the question of JMK, to me, it's just like adjust your resource, and it's still gonna work because a lot of teams out there are going to just apply the debuff for you, and then you're playing honest GAC. You're not playing dodge meta. You're just playing like, okay, I need to add a step.
Now take a look at this. This is JMK Cat Mace dropping to my Sanahando Kara.
Right.
And so I guess that's probably a pretty good takeaway is wherever you're using your JMK on offense, try not to choose these smuggler teams because, you know, Mace can apply
feels like
ability block, but then he like if they do a crit, they shake it off and they get tenacity up, and you're just up the creek, man.
Cat's leap can't be evaded, right? So, like, I think if you take the time to build up that attack and you don't just try to leap immediately each time.
He tried to cheat me. You know what? Never mind. He went in with Snips. That's Snips Mace, not Cat Mace.
But this is my thing, right? You're talking about a dude
mind.
who JMK, I feel like plays with blinders on. That everybody knows it too. This is the dude with that like no accuracy in his kit, right? Because you tell me a GL who has been dodged more than JMK in your fight, where 50 million times he dodges, and if you don't have everything tight, so it's like to me, it's just a mismanagement of the resources. I literally, it's like, okay, JMK, am I calling for a Jabba this week? I $57 that stuff, and if I saw the smuggler dodge, I would just adjust my fight. What am I worried about? It's all you're doing is that's just I don't understand week 1 what I'm looking at, and so now I guarantee he's not going to be doing the same thing. Your caller for JMK is like, I'll go kill something else now.
Yeah, my
forensics.
Sorry,
I would say it's probably that they ran Snips because they thought that Snips going to be evaded, but that she can be evaded is just the whole foresight clause,
right?
So they might have thought that they were officially
misinterpreting.
In fact, yeah.
And they wouldn't get jammed up on the Kara respawn either.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I did see, I think we all anticipated this last week, but it's, you know, those squads that have unresistible debuffs, whether it's Moff Gideon and Demoralize or, you know, every gun get under Earth,
Dash on Chewie.
A few of those things. Yeah,
Yeah.
they removed the superpower, like TJ said. It balances the playing field, and they are difference makers. One of the ones that I set that I was particularly excited about was I set Bam, Sana, and
Hmm.
Paz. Because Paz at least starts with a couple
That's
sacks
cool.
resilient defense, and he's going to throw out an AOE, and I'm like, oh, this is a lot of fun. And Aesop's great. We always chat, as things are going. And I said, what the hell happened there? Because it was a clean 57. It was the two words I didn't want to hear back, which was Gungan Auto. And that's exactly what happened to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I said. This is honest GAC right now. There's not really a lot of bulk flying around. There's not any of the other mechanics. Yeah, there's something cheeky you can do, but it's like the recommendation of putting Darth Revan for week 1 on defense, and immediately now the answer's solved. Right? I don't know where the end, but it's like all
That's
the things I know we'll
just
talk about. I know
yeah,
we'll talk about it, but
It's funny you should mention that because we will get there. I'm so excited about that team, but
this
that's
is
why
what
I
I'm
wanted to
talking
save
about.
it
It's the
for
thing
just
to
a
say.
little later.
This, I think, it's got to be Fatal. I know Fatal had to have talked about it, and he said like one of the most relevant things. Seeing the week, we are playing honest GAC, in my opinion, and I don't know how cheeky you get or tricksy or whatever you want to call the wording here. I'm excited to see what a Fatal can try, but it's playing that game. I know I've spent a lot of time. I've talked to you, Tass, and I've watched a lot of things like that. It's like I'm racking my head at ways to put this like added edge of something else when a lot of the resources don't take a lot of the same things. It's like I don't know how heavy. It's like I'm apparently I'm going to have to do like Fatal and literally play every single GL and then just try to go that way because there's not a lot of tricks that are shifting with this new set like you would see with some of the others. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I fought You Can't Say this last week, and he's a very efficiency minded player. He ended up setting only one GL on me, so it's one of those things where I feel like most players out this way want to set some type of rigorous challenging defense, but it's not a rule, and there's a good handful up here that are like that. So I don't want to count on. I'd like to do it. I'd like to be heavier because I actually went fairly heavy against You Can't Say, as far as the way I've been playing recently, and I just know that if I had even one of the two teams that I swapped for the round against Bellator, if I had kept those same, even one of those two on defense, I would not have lost, but I would have dropped again, and we all know what that means. That could have been a cascade. It could have been more drops. I don't know. So, yeah. All right. Good talk on the smugglers. So, on droids, I'm really thinking about GG, Afra. Maybe you guys saw some cool sortie teams. I think, Sasha, I saw you set something that even had an HK in it. I haven't myself managed to roll an HK cron. So that option is denied to me. I did set a GG stab. It got steamrolled.
Dude, it gets so easily beat. That is not. Do not set that, please. I
But-
don't know what you think you could do with it, but I don't see
But
Wampa just deliciously
oh,
dives
you
into
make
that.
me sad to say that. I'm sorry to hear that. But Fatal, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't I see you do an interesting punch up or clean up something with gas?
Uh,
Or not gas.
be
Sorry,
thinking what
not
I-
gas. GG. Sorry.
oh, fuck, what was it?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I
yeah,
think I did
yeah.
a GG against DR, and it was like my
Ooh.
entire team was at like 30% health, and their team was fucking dead. But it was
Ye-
just like the most violent. I could try to pull it up.
Sure,
You
sure,
know
sure.
what I thought? I want to go back to your set 20 question, Taz. I saw something I did, and it's like it made me think of how it's best utilized. One of the questions of was Nest, right?
Yeah.
And I set the sorting Nest L3 with the smuggler, right? It got soloed by my opponent's Nest.
Oh, that's
So,
disgusting.
But what I didn't think about and what it doesn't tell us is there room here for doing some shenanigans where we're going to start being able to underman things with that setup. I didn't even think about it, but just take that into account, especially like a nest, because the one thing we didn't talk about, but it's like I figured out real quick that I'm not doing Ray Nest. Ray Nest
Yeah.
is by far the weakest watching the fights. So thank you for our creators watching how it looked and all that. I don't care what you do with it. It gets beat so easy. And is
I
a
ate for the
downgrade.
record. I ate shit on it with Star Killer, but that's okay. I'm just bad.
But that's what Star Killer. But Seer Malico Star Killer
Yeah,
drops that
probably
thing
easy,
quicker
yeah.
than anything. But that's what I'm saying. It's like I learned it the hard way watching the fights because I also fought something like this, not comparable, not to what Ezra's doing. But then again, if you have Fatal Setup, then that's gone. So it just changes the fight. But it's like you talked about it. What are you going to do with Nest? So it's like, what do I go solo something now? And seeing
Sure.
that solo my Nest comp that we had, and it wasn't nothing. Mine's a Relic 9 sortie, and it's a Relic 7, a Relic 8 L3. So it's not a nothing team.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to take a solo Nest for a 58, it opens the bar of, can I apply something heavier there? So like a Fatal-esque type harder team, and start making some of the super teams and just saying, all right, I'm just going to go solo something with Nest now. So that's a cool idea because not every team you're placing on defense is going to apply debuffs. And if you can't be touched and exploiting that evasion mechanic, that to me has good merit there. Like a Hondo. Taking a Hondo, locking a person up and doing that would be cool too.
There's another aspect that's kind of interesting if you take the smuggler evasion on offense against other smuggler evasion, is they nullify one another, right? Because they're part of that long text 6 says that if a smuggler's evaded, it places an unresistible dot on the opponent. So if you have 6 smugglers out there 3-on-3, you ultimately have a bunch of smugglers that are taking one another's limbs off. Like they're hitting each other. So it does neutralize itself in like a smuggler on smuggler violence. But
Nice observation. I had not thought about that.
Well, but here's the thing, though. If you're also putting up tenacity up, because then I would say,
Yeah, but unresistible is unresistible. So whatever.
But I mean, I guess it's because it's Nest, right? So I guess the response has to be it's because it's Nest that it's helping you in, because obviously Nest has a unique kit for everybody else versus something that would be unresistible or whatever, but not be able to maintain, right? So I guess that's what we'd have to take into account there for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to stifle any discussion you guys had on smuggler stuff. What else on smugglers you guys got?
Is there anything else?
I mean, I personally didn't use Finn Zori this week. Technically, Zori fits in that basket. I don't know if anyone saw anything cool there.
Retaliate. I like the retaliate for the Finn Zori. The smuggler retaliate because there is chances she's going to get hit. So I did clean up something. The retaliate felt really good with the Zori. Not on defense. That's shenanigans. That's not going to matter. And we talked about it, I think, pretty well. But the retaliate on offense for her, I felt like there was good stuff there because your team's usually designated pretty fast anyway. But anything that touches her and that pushing back under, and you're already putting in an expose, that added benefit feels like there's a good punch up there. I don't know where where we'll end at with it, but I still like that team as one of the 15 for offense for being able to give you actually a clean counter to what something is doing.
Okay, I appreciate that. All right, if there's nothing else on smugglers, back to droids. So yeah, okay. So Fatal had his takedown of DR Zalbar using GG staff with the staff cron. That is slick.
That's cool. That's cool.
Afra. I saw Afra on defense twice this week. Both times I mirrored it with Afra and just mopped it. Don't think I had anything. Don't think I've seen anything else really interesting. But you guys had any cool observations on either? Any of the droid teams, really?
Yeah, I set a sortie HK with HK Cron GG squad that
I see that here.
That lost to a CLS like 2PO C3PO. So that was underwhelming. But yeah, that was I didn't see it like Aesop didn't set it, probably knowing better.
Fair. Okay. Next up would be mercenaries then. So you're talking about using Balin. I don't know if that's for. I'm sure for a lot of us, it's going to be with one of your possible two mercenary hunter crons, but also fallen Omega, not fallen, fugitive Omega, plus mercenary hunter teams. I think that's about it as far as good mercenary teams goes, right? Unless you're doing it, I don't know, a dash mercenary that isn't a smuggler? I don't know. What do you guys got to say on this one, though? Because Balin I set with the aforementioned mercenary hunter, and yeah, it commanded a respectable counter. I think for a couple people, Bane was about it. So
Bane? Inquisitors destroy that, no matter what you
I've
try to
seen
do
Inquisitors
to
actually struggle, though.
I-
Not against
I-
mine, but yeah.
that. I would say I faced good ones, including mercenary, and without, and I did just fine. Poes, I think, tried to do that. I I don't know where the struggle is in the point, because now I would say, to your point, I went your way, Tash. You called it out on one of your streams, and you're like, "Oh, I got the 57 because I went the torture first." I had been liking the torture first on the fight, and then what happens is they try to do the cleanse, and then I should have recorded it. They literally killed themselves. I don't know what shenanigans, and people are failing on it.
Mm-hmm.
I took a dark side 15% damage, and I was never in a point where I was close to having any problems. So I don't know what they're doing that's different. I have fought with Hunter there and the Hunter Cron, and it was correct for the setup. It was a long text. And then I have faced the standard Merrick with that. And in each situation, maybe it was stats that were applied that also made that a benefit, and maybe there was something there. But Balin cleanses himself, and when he does, I drop him in 2. And then I just finished the fight. I think I was even talking to you in a conversation, and maybe even on the stream I did it. I faced him, I did it, I dropped him in 2. Actually, it was. If we go watch your stream, when I did the show, I faced it in the back, and when I hit it, I dropped him like it was nothing. It was butter. And the same thing on the second fight when I faced it. Variations to the team, result is the same.
Let me see if I can't look that up. I think in the match with you and me, you did Balin versus Ahsoka. Are you talking about when you fought his Balin, though?
Yeah, I fought his Balin in the back.
Yeah, Reva, there it is right there. Gotcha. Coming up. Get that replay. Speed going.
So to your point, the torture.
Yeah. Now, I didn't do this. This is the retribution. So this is exactly what I tried to avoid in my match, because I didn't do this counter specifically because they had retribution. I was like, I don't want to risk it. But yeah, you just rolled right over it. So
I don't feel like and that's the good thing about it. They were statted well. The match was, they actually had more GP than me. It wasn't like it was a bad cron, but I faced the long text and the retribution. To me, it's like I said, I also like doing what you do. And if you notice, I like the torture to initialize the fight.
Sure.
I'm not just going right in and let me just go blindly AoE. Taking that added torture in and then playing it there, and then reactively having 7th come in to apply some other things, is removing some of that added scarcity that's coming in there. And I would call my crons average at best. I didn't do high rerolls. I don't have high stats or anything like that. So we're not talking anything else there. I just went dark side, high crit damage, and those death marks is what kills it, and they just go away.
Fair. What say you, gentlemen? Balin, I really want to know more about Omega, the new team, because I know a few of you have been toying around with it. I actually have all the characters modded, so I could possibly use it this week. Is there something that's going to wow me on defense? Is there a punch-up opportunity on offense? Whatever you guys got on Mercenary Faction.
I can go pretty quickly. So in terms of first I'll go to the new Bad Batch, the F Omega. I did face ASOPs. Was in the full testing mode, but I used CLS 2PO C3PO. That had a shot at working, but it didn't come together for me. I ended up losing that. I did kill one of the sides, but I backed out to make sure I could retest again. And then I brought AdRad on it with Cassian, and that was very clean. So I ended up, and at that point, didn't want to try a third, so I took that battle. But and I know I said it, and Aesop went through it cleanly, but using Trey Nihilus Savage, he had a bunch of options, and and in normal circumstances, I would have been happy to draw Trey Nihilus Savage using those. Now, Balin itself, I think I held my. No, I set my Balin. He used Bane cleanly on it, and he set Balin. Both, I said the same thing. It's a long text Merc 6 with Shin and Maroc as the comp. But excuse me, I tried Riva, and my squad melted like crazy fast. 47-second battle.
See,
I
TJ,
lost.
there's no guarantees, man.
So hold on, I'm not calling it a guaranteed. Now I would say you just said the name Aesop. Am I correct? The dude who lives and loves with Krons is the same thing. So I would ask, what was the stats and all the good things like that?
It's right here on screen, good sir.
Yeah, 80% crit damage, 47% health.
So why I'm saying this is why I'm saying that this is like, I'm not calling all the same, but I would also ask you, did you open with the torture? Or did you go into the fight and start just doing the AoE? Because I time my AoE for when I'm doing the fight, and if we go watch, even with Retribution
on Balin, and I think I'm not so sure I went.
That's
yeah,
but,
47 seconds.
Like,
I don't think you had a lot of decisions.
I'm not calling yours any slouch.
A lot all over the place. So I don't.
To be fair to yours,
use your error. Quite possibly.
I'm not going to call it that. I'm going to call that we're talking about two different levels, in my opinion. We have the me's of the world, our average Joe, Sasha, and then we have the U's and the Aesops. You guys, it's like looking in the clouds and talking about people who have spent a good amount where the reroll is in the quadruple digits. Well, and I'm over here just being a dude.
Now, here's something interesting. I think maybe you can comment on this, Sasha, having fought it. Was it that just nobody got bursted, or like the death mark went out but it didn't matter, nobody died on time? Because what stands out about the Kron is just the big chunk of health on it, right? I've seen them with crit damage. The armor penetration on it isn't particularly high. It does have the long text Mercenary 6, but the standout stats, that 46.65% health, and I wonder how much did that matter?
I wish I had a better recollection of the battle. Going back to see if I happen to have a video.
It was 47 seconds. It all happened so fast.
I would agree.
Exactly. But
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If you want to do this, because it's hard to say, Sasha. You told me 47 seconds. I'm assuming, because the one thing that hurt me, and I know it was like a good opener, is one, was it Maroc's AoE or Merrick or whatever AoE, and then your sides were dead? And then two, or was it Shin went and your sides were dead? What screams to me this looks like is like I didn't get an additional turn to do anything. They did the opening swipe, because the one thing I'll tell you when I got hit in both situations, it's that flip of damage, because he's going to go and he's going to flip the damage. And can you sustain that? Shin is going to open up with that big burst, and that hurts. And can they sustain that? What I would have to guess
the speed
is
gap on your teams.
What's that?
What's the speed gap on your teams? One of the reasons I've lost this fight before is that they are too fast. So checking the speed sometimes helps, because if you lead with Torture, GI should get a turn after Merrick's AoE that cleanses or whatever, and then they're all death marked, and then your ability block AoE should set you up to chunk a couple of them down. But if they get to cycle back around to go before your GI takes their second turn, i.e. they have too much speed on them, that is one of the failure points. So people like Aesop will have their speeds like jacked, and I think that's one of the reasons why it's a lot harder against, the special few.
So
that tracks.
Thank you, David, for jogging my memory just a bit. You guys, I do recall that it was one of the opening salvos, like right out of the gate, that I lost Seventh Sister. So at one
There you
point,
go.
there was like, so probably within the first like 5 seconds, Seventh Sister was dead,
I'll tell you
and
exactly why
it
that
left me in a
worked.
Yeah,
spot
that's
where
got
I
to be
then with
Marok
Deathmark.
AoE.
Yeah,
And I'm telling you
and
that's
I've got
exactly
no
why.
assist to take out,
Mhm.
to do the added damage against Deathmarked enemies.
I can
Right?
show you exactly where that's at too in my fight. If you go back and look at it, one of the pieces you'll see is my Seventh Sister interrupts, and I'm able to regain the fight control. So that lack of being able to do that is what got you,
Yeah,
Sasha. But
no
again,
doubt.
Yep.
superhuman fighter makes perfect sense. And also daggers is a phenomenal call out. I didn't even think about that. But that it's that second to third hit because those big bursts coming from both Merrick and from Shin, and you can't regain the fight because of that turn meter loop that you would try to gain and Seven Sister not intervening is a really good call out to saying if you can't do that because they're super speed, like they're super quick on top of the damage stats that are on this cron, yeah, you're in for a bad time.
Fair.
What's interesting is that, like, I got a chance to follow it up with just Gungans. I wanted to try that. High survivability for the Gungans, like it lasted almost 3 minutes, but just inadequate DPS. And what ended up taking his squad out was like kind of an odd BKM squad. It was starting from scratch, so it would have been the equivalent of a one shot, but it was BKM, Grogu, and because, as I mentioned before, I set paths with Bam and Sana, it was armor as a third, and it was just BKM doing the heavy lifting.
Amazing that this worked. This is really cool to know, actually. That's
I don't know
neat
how
one.
reliable or repeatable it is, Tass. But it's out
Yeah,
there.
it doesn't. It's not like it was a dunk by any means, but
Right.
as a break glass, it's kind of neat. All right. Anything else though on the Balin or especially the Omega teams? Because again, I'm looking for brilliant ideas.
I don't have it for that, but I'm going to tell you that Bam with the Bam cron does some pretty cool stuff. I think we're talking Merc still, right?
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
I just want to call it out. The Bam with the Merc was proving pretty strong right now. Just the level 9 is great, right? Obviously with Bam, that adds the love to it. But I was feeling pretty good. Didn't care about the level 6, don't care about anything like that, but just the ability to push through. And that 20% actually felt that in a couple of the fights I had this week. And then that was including a Bash JML setup. It was tricky to try and put in the back, but dude, Bam, him hitting Bam and then him pushing back in and then getting the stacks together, it's just chef kiss. It just feels really good right now, and it's a great to see if you're not doing the stuff with Sana. Bam has a really good place right now with your BKM and what it can punch up to.
Trying to find that fight of yours. Was that round 2?
Round 3, I did. He put the JMK or the JML in the back, so it was one of the last fights you'll see me do. But you'll see. I was going through there. Go back up. You just passed it. It was Bash JML. He tried the shenanigans.
Yeah, there it
And
is.
I just
okay. Yeah,
and
well,
I just dumped it, man.
Wow. Yeah, I haven't seen this one in a bit, so fair enough.
People are trying because they want to put it, but it's like honestly, the winner here you think BKM was nice because she can bypass obviously the taunt and all that. But I was looking at the thing. Nobody's really doing the Bam feels really good right now with this. Where I know people want to do a lot of Paz. I know it's beating JMK easily with Paz there, but the Bam on the team, it's that level 9 has got some cheeky shenanigans, and also the stats on the cron. She loves the fact because she don't care if you go bulk or not. She just loves to fight, and that's what she's gonna do. And so, giving her some more added offense or anything else, an armor pin is really nice.
Good stuff. All right. Anything else we want to cover? Well, first, I know. Thank you, Dagger, for joining us. I know you're, just flying in the door. Fatal did link us a video. We talked about this earlier, how he was able to use GG Stap. It wasn't great on defense this week, so him using GG Stap here with Magna to take on DRZ. Let's have a look-see at that.
Petition to call it Drizzle.
Drizzle, you want it to be Drizzle? I'll take it under consideration. I'm not prepared to rule it this time.
No, I'll just say like the couple defenses that kind of hoed me out was there was like a Sana team with Dash and I think it was Hondo that completely hoed me out round one. Ended up having to like JMK it or something. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look. But yeah,
that
was like
third,
round one.
But that's expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember what I beat it with, but I tried JKR to start, and it I did. Yeah, that was funny. That was cute. I was like, oh, JKR Mark prevents buffs. Oh wait, they take too many turns. Shit. Yeah. Also, it'll be more of like the bridge to talking about fights that fight of the week. Don't do Treya versus Queen Amidala. That shit sucks.
Yeah.
And Tass watched an R7 isolated POW one-shot Maitreya. That was health modded with an Omi.
Happens.
Like, all right, like, I guess we're not playing this game. So, and that was after me telling TJ, it's like, man, I won with like 2 seconds on the clock a couple times. Yeah, I will not be doing that shit ever the fuck again.
It is definitely, it can work, but it's also the blind.
No, I'm here to,
it worked
the dagger
last
stamp
season.
of that. No. You have the dagger stamp of that counter can go fuck itself never again.
I
You can
don't
tell me whatever
disagree,
the fuck you want. It's not happening.
It can, again, we're gonna be in air. It can work, and as you said, you still won, and that's a W. But at the point, it's like it's also.
I lost one where the R7 POW who was isolated one shot Maitreya. I lost that.
So I still go to the point where it's like.
How was you about it again?
Yeah, no.
How was you about it? Health
Health.
what?
Health. Just health
Anything
plus
else?
defense. Health plus defense.
How much defense?
I don't know, like 75, 80% armor. Like not a huge skew to defense. But an R7 POW should not be one-shotting my R9 Treya modded for health. So.
The hardest choices require the strongest wills. I think you know what must be done for next week.
Yeah. No, look, I'm not arguing you, Fatal. I'm simply saying that I will not be doing that shit again.
It's
let me help you with that. That 80, 75, 80% is more like 54.4. Just
this is TW mods. This is in GAC mods.
Oh, okay. Well, fine.
Hey, I had her in 3x defense mods, 4x health primary.
Okay, I was happy. All right, I was gonna just chuck you right there under the bus, but all right.
I just
want
maybe you just need better percent defense secondaries. I don't know. You know?
Right.
Yeah, no. I just won't be doing this anymore. I will just be.
I also think that is a fair. I think that's a fair statement. The simplest response of, well, it worked last season. And that's again. That's not saying that
it was both. Like,
that's not you, buddy.
Like
that's me telling you. That's me telling you, right? Well, so it works. Yeah. I'm still going to try it this week. But I agree with your point. It's like, well, we ain't got bulk no more, son. So let that shit go. And it's like, I don't want to do it.
I'm just saying those are the two teams that hoed me out the most. Was Queen Amidala, and I know I talked to Tass about pulling Great Mothers, but man, I don't know if I can do that. That team feels too strong to pull.
That's what I wanted to mention, I guess, in terms of that issue. Here you can see I used the same set 19 Kron, both fights where I did it. Buffs up, Dark Side level 3. The stats were kind of whatever. Some crit damage, a good chunk of potency, 56% armor penetration, 17% offense. But the secret to success is, you're dooming POW, you're putting Blessed on Spirit, you're blowing up POW pretty quickly. Like, he'll have a foresight you have to get through, and then you just pop him with, like, Spirit Special, and that's just it. Then you go after Queen, and then it's, a cinch to wrap up Master Qui-Gon after that. But I know that Dagger checked this out. He and I were talking about this last night, and he saw the win rate look slightly, more sketch for this than it did for Treya. And I can't explain that, but what I can explain is that I believe in that Treya thing eating dirt. And I thought this was going to work, and it did work for me twice.
That's what I was going to say. That was to exactly your point, Dagger, of two things. Your call out to say pulling Great Mothers, like, that's tough to do. But at the same time, if it becomes what we saw this week, and I think we saw it pretty regularly from a lot of the content creators, is Great Mothers are eating up Queen Amidala. I feel like Queen Amidala, because light side bulk, so those teams that like the bulk and sitting around like this stuff. And it's like, if Queen becomes that good counter, that is a reason to pull Queen since. I know we'll probably talk about it. Darth Revan eats Great Mothers. I showed it. We talked about can it do it or not. And it's like, it's too easy. Granted, you'll lose some points, but you don't have to worry about any shit about Great Mothers. And if Great Mothers can kill Queen Amidala, I feel like Queen Amidala is one of the top teams on the defense right now because they have limited counters that they can do, and a lot of it doesn't have bulk. So that's a great calling.
I mean, with SOK like not being particularly good on defense and threes, I mean, it makes like offense just a lot easier. I just have to get out of that mindset of trying to like care about, if I just JMK this, I can just move on with my life. Like, it's not even that big of a deal to JMK it. You know what I mean? Like that's the whole point I'm trying to make is like I don't even have to pull something off defense. I was saving 6 GLs and still trying to trade that shit. Like, okay,
yeah, fair.
All right, guys. We're going to compress the agenda a little further from here, but I want to do one more topic of significant importance is DR Zalbar. So thank you, Fatal, for providing that video showing how, even though GG really isn't doing a lot on defense for us, that's a good, in a pinch, one shot on DR Zalbar, because I had opponents fall on that for me. Let's see how that went. Did he take it out cleanly? I forget. Yeah, he did, and then this one didn't.
My experience is the gentleman's agreement for week 1 was to Lord Vader each other as Darth Revan and move on.
Well,
that literally was like I looked at the stuff like that. It's like, and that's why I told Dagger. It's like Dagger's response was a great one. I don't even know what to do with Lord Vader. I'm like, just go get a free 58, sir. It's cool.
This is the response in the meta to this. People pulled their Gungans to use against it. And I just want to say, like, I've seen people run this with Nas, Jar Jar, and Phalanx, but I did look into the data here. Let me see where it is. Did I close the tab like a jerk?
Probably. Was this the use Tarpals thing?
It was Tarpals, and you would, and Tarpals is definitely the better win rate. All right, but that's no guarantee because it's not like it's like 92% with Tarpals. So it's as good as I think you can ask for out of Gungans, but it's not 100%. So,
that GG thing is super cheap, though. Was that was?
GG stat magnet. I completely agree. Yeah,
and the stat level 9 doesn't even really apply too much there either because of the TMR being like not a thing.
Yeah, it's all that DI doing the work.
It is as long as that Magna Guard is not getting brought, like in that opening leap by DR, if Magna Guard goes below 50% and you immediately get Deathmark on GG, I get nervous.
What relic is your Magna, Fatal?
It's only Relic 7. So 2 things. The DR side might not be the best squad, but my Separatists also aren't that great. Like my GG's R9 is the only thing that I would say is like pretty invested, but like my Magna Guard is R7 trash.
You also got a clutch dodge there.
They were all in trade if you can get it.
Or no, they were all in DI. I don't think any.
Oh, never mind.
The DI, the Droid Crown is just very, very good this set. It like Stat 9 is good. The Dark Side options on 3 are good, and the Droid level 6 is good. It is just right. Like you get locked DI, you get locked crit damage up, or like, for other Droid squads, you also get locked offense up. It's just like you get so much.
Yeah,
and. I'm not saying that that's a guaranteed fight. Obviously, it's very messy, and there might be a min-max DR that could just like instantly end you. But it's a pretty violent option. I don't know. It seemed okay.
Yeah,
fair.
I love it if I could get it to work. I look at one stat I do remember from facing Aesop's DR was the open. I threw out a few different things just to test it out, and one of them I threw out was a Padme, Snips, and Mace. Maybe I can't remember. Is that GK?
Yeah,
GK. Yeah, and I threw that out just to sort of see what it would look like. The opening leap of DR on Padme was 280k, and I think almost took Padme. Padme had like a sliver of red and died immediately. And some of that is like, I mean, this really well. Aesop's got a very optimized mission DR and remains a roster. But yeah, that was like kind of jaw dropping for me. I was humbled by that. And what was it I tried next, Tass? I can't see.
I see you've got Iden Storm range here. You went in with a range cron, great like 200% armor penetration, 20% offense, buffs 3, grit 6, range 9. 50 seconds later.
Oh yeah, I ended up taking because I was running out of time and wanted to get through. That had no shot in the way it played out. Just for what it's worth.
Mhm.
And then, the other thing I did do is I stopped. I lost that battle, and I saw Dr. had his leap up, like it was going to be his next move. And one of the things I wanted to find out was, okay, can Wampa take it? If Wampa gets leapt by Dr. and it's just the two of them, is Wampa? Because then, all right, then we're taking 16 banners or whatever instead of 20, or I guess in this case. But it did not work, as you can see.
Yeah.
Like Wampa cooldown pull and then beaten down even without the mission being there to trigger the rest of the Zalbar army. The other thing, and we talked a little bit about this before we started recording, that like I didn't set or use the Dr. Mission Zalbar at all, because I was curious about it, but I knew that was going to be sort of a primary topic for a lot of people. There'd be good content. I trust you guys to be able to do that. So I was really curious about the capabilities of Zaldar's Ami, excluding the 3v3 unique aspect. Like if you just go to the paragraph that are the first words on that Ami that aren't specific to a 3v3 or 5v5 format, it's still awesome. He just retaunts all the time, puts dots on the opposing side. So there were a few things I wanted to try there. One of them, which I know is probably not the highest value, but I thought would be kind of cool potential, was a Wookiees squad. Because Tarful, his lead, that every time a Wookiee taunts, there's a stacking without limit, 10% additional defense to the rest of the squad, which under Tarful's lead translates into offense. And you basically have Zalbar taunting nonstop, like repeatedly taunting. So it's dispelling and repeating. And I thought that would be really cool, but it got beaten down super fast by a Gungan squad, which is in demand elsewhere.
I was going to say 3 Omis to beat 1 sounds like good math to me.
I guess so. Yeah. But anyway, my point was really, I think Zalbar's like surprisingly versatile. I think he's awesome with the Dr. mission. It's too bad it has the No Galactic Republic provision in it, but it's pretty. He can be such a killer tank in so many other comps.
Fair. All right, appreciate that, guys. As far as favorite attack and defense, again, in the interest of time, pick your favorite one of just one. A favorite attack or a favorite defense. I will jump in. Let me see. Where's mine? Yeah, I guess it would be this one, the JMK failing Tasana, because I don't think this one was exactly what I thought it was. Yeah, because he used failings here. So if this was Tarpul's and it failed, I would have been really extra over the moon. Although I will say, he did use Great Mothers the same way I did. Let's see what he did. He ran with Turn Meter level 3, and I do think the buffs on 3 matter. I do think that's the case. So he had a Kron that was excellent in every other way except not having that buffs 3. I don't know if that was truly the difference maker, but I've heard about again, I use this against Queen. He's using it against Balin, but I've heard this works really well, so I'm glad to see that. How about you, Dagger? What you got? Favorite attack or defense?
I already said it. Treya has the stamp of you can go fuck yourself versus QA. Won't be doing that shit again.
Yeah, that's a good lesson learned. I'll take that one.
Yep.
TJ, let's go straight to you. Favorite attack or defense?
Favorite defense with me was Saw with Krex and Luthen, man. Round 1, round 3, both of them. Tried Inquisitors, got pooped on. Nothing crazy. Nothing
that.
With the
No way. No way. Because
Yes,
that was a
You'll-
dunk for me. I can't believe people. Oh, but you see.
No, round 1 and round 3.
Yeah, I see
were
here's
fails.
3, but they did not put respect on your name.
Poe, though, but Poe I would expect would respect it, and he also failed. He only failed a couple of spots. And Saw Krex, you just, and we talked about it on your stream too, you don't get to not put Krex if you're going to put Saw. You absolutely need to respect the name. It is not a nothing burger. That eliminates so many of the other counters you can do. But if you're going to put Saw on it, you have to
be
put
fair,
Krex.
that Kron that Powe used wasn't even that good either.
Yeah, I agree. But you know what's interesting? Just thinking about what your issue was there, Dyer. Like Treya would devour this, whereas Treya actually
Yeah, if
struggles
people
with
actually
this.
said,
Treya struggles
yeah,
with
if
the
people
Saw
actually said
Luthen that has
Rex.
Kyle in it, but it eats this one.
And it's
if
funny
people
because
actually said Rex, yeah, but people said Kyle against me.
Okay,
but
fair.
it's kind of, and we talked about it, and that's what I said. The chance comes up. Like I said, I screwed it up, but it just opens up the trooper food. And like
I
I said,
like
I
that.
did it round one with trooper food just fine when the Kyle. But you know what you don't get to do? You don't get to do that with cracks. And so if I'm going to make the choice of making you use your Treya here or somewhere else, because there's limited places that you're going to want to use that, I will take that. If it's pulling and it's actually showing too in the data that Inquisitors can struggle on that team, there are chances to fail. I'm taking that because that's a lot limited counter versus you can just go trooper my team. I'm sorry, that does not feel good.
Okay, fair enough. Sasha, how about you? Favorite attack or defense?
I think in terms of attack, wasn't a lot that I really liked. I could probably beat that BKM against Balin. That ended up working. I had a few others that were interesting but didn't fail. I will say, holding QA, I took QA to try it against Jabba's long text hut cron. And the challenge you have there is in that long text. I knew this would be an issue. Is you don't get the health and regen when you've got debts on you. So while that one had a shot, it was not a good one. I think I did kill Bausch on that. It doesn't look like it, but I backed out completely so I could try fresh. But and then ran out of time. But so I'd say, yeah, on offense, that's probably it. On defense, there was nothing that, I mean, absolutely nothing got a hold. So nothing that would really jump out. I liked the Wookiee idea. I was sad that it didn't get that the Gungans are such a steamroll there. But the reality is, like, Gungans are appealing now as like for use against a bunch of the different smuggler options. So don't count the Wookiees fully out.
No, I
I don't
like
know that
that
I'll see
fork,
something this week, but
and I
yeah.
think you're certainly one of the very few players at the top of the game that would be thinking to be using Zalbar outside of DRZ. So, yeah, I like it. And again, you can easily create a fork that, as you said, in this 3v3 meta would command the Gungans ahead of them getting to these Wookiees. So I like where you're coming from. There's meat on them bones for week 2.
Yeah, somewhere there.
Yeah. All right. And of course, Fatal, last but not least, your favorite attack or defense of the week.
I don't know what to shout out specifically. It was just, I didn't get cleared in any rounds. I had like 70 total holds, but if I'm just...
No particular defense was like, man, this just ate everybody up and no exceptions.
This is the problem with a fatigue defense is you don't
know which thing broke them first.
You don't really tend to get a highlight reel. You just, like, they win with the good teams and then they eventually start losing, and it's like, well, of course that's going to lose, but it's like they just have no other option. I guess maybe I could shout out that, like, yeah, the Rail 3 WAD thing works at Block 2 Starkillers. Is going to lose to Malicos, but that's what I'm trying to force to happen, so
sure.
Stay up.
Okay.
Like 70 holds if I'm subtracting like the SLK and JML bloodbath, it's probably closer to like 30 holds or something. It was a lucrative week. And now that my Tuskens will be back on their bitchier mods, it might even get better now that I'm back on 3v3.
All right. Well, let's bring it back full circle and think about how we're wrapping up this week. It's time for takeaways and final thoughts, gentlemen. For my part, this is the cost of victory is that if nothing necessarily screwed up, I have to look carefully to see about where to shore things up. It looks like I may have 2 real matchups at most this week. So, again, I'm losing out on intelligence there. What I do know is stuff like GG Stap that I did have on defense in week 1. There's not a lot of merit to that. I didn't try Crew, Dark Ray, and FOTP like I wanted because it didn't feel like the right fit. I want to do it though, so that's something I'm thinking about. Otherwise, yeah, if you found yourself dropping any attacks for want of something to deal with a smuggler cron, just have, we talked about a few ideas here today about how to deal with that and what to reserve. So just make sure you've got, +1, +2, whatever are those that you need, however many of them you were struggling with this week. Don't get caught flat-footed twice. That's it for me. Dagger, how about you? Takeaways, final thoughts.
Have Fatal and Sasha go next.
Well, that's so fun. All right. How about TJ? Just because I don't want to do what Dagger said.
He's saying that for time. He's saying that for time.
Go next.
He's saying
for time's for their time's sake. I got you. I just didn't want to do what Dagger said because he's not my real dad. But okay, right, Sasha, let's go ahead and get you.
I am smashing your mom, though, just to be clear.
Fair. Sasha, let's have you. Takeaways and final thoughts. What you got for the people?
Yeah, so I was thinking around Smuggler Cron, and I was a little disappointed with how it held, and we talked a bunch about countermeasures to it. But one of the questions that's still kind of lingering for me is there a possibility, and I'm getting doubtful of it, to just go broad enough with them so that the cheap ploys to undo their superpower of dodge, you can really just sort of outflank them by having enough smugglers on defense. So you've only got one Moff Gideon or whatever, like it. Or is the best approach with smugglers to just concentrate? Is there a super combo that is maybe overcomes the cheaper tactical responses? I don't have an answer to it. I'm going to be curious to see how things go this week and basically see, is there an optimal smuggler combo out there that is really awesome? I doubt that there is one on defense that really totally holds its own against kind of gimmicky countermeasures. And then I wonder pretty quickly, do people start reverting the variety of smuggler options to offense? Because I do think, and TJ mentioned this before, when you get to choose who you're attacking, you can choose whether that squad that you're going to target has an irresistible debuff or not. And when not, I think there's some real high potential utility with smugglers. So that's kind of the state and a bit of the near term evolution I'm kind of expecting on that front. I haven't fully thought through where I'm going to land on it, but that's what I kind of expect to have happen. And I've got to jump. I'll hand it over to Fatal because I know he's got to run too. But thank you, guys.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining us today. Take care.
Love you, Sasha. Have a great rest of your day.
And thanks, Sarah. By the way, I already let Tass know about the hat.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he did. Fantastic. You were a gentleman and a scholar.
We really weren't even missing you. So it was great.
And really quick, I will be out your way next month. I'll DM you about it.
Please do, bud.
Fantastic. All right, Fatal, how about you? Takeaways, final thoughts going into week 2.
Yeah, it's I don't know. This very much just feels like a continuation for me of last season, where I don't really have any smuggler dodge shit on defense. I don't have any mercenary 20 stuff on defense. I left Balin with set 19 and a hilt against Inquisitors. I'm feeling fine with that. I don't know. The season really just feels like, choose your adventure. Like, if you want to go fatigue's great. If you want to go efficiency, you have all the tools you need. At some point the shoe will drop and people will stop giving me free wins. And at that time I will have to slowly reinvent myself and be slightly more responsible. But for the time being, I'm getting away with murder. So heads will roll. All right. Well, we'll see how it goes for you. And as the only other content creator on our podcast, where can the good folks find you? Twitch.tv/PlaybookTV. Fantastic, sir. All right, appreciate you joining us. We'll, if you got a scoot, no worries. Yep. Good luck. Take care. All right. Dagger, how about you? What you got? What do you got for the people? Lessons learned? Because you actually suffered a loss this week, you were telling me. A real deal loss. Yeah, for the sake of this conversation, yes, I lost really badly, and it's okay. Yeah, I basically got hoed out by Queen Amidala, got pissed off, and didn't come back, and my GAC was completed by, we'll just say me, for the sake of this conversation. So yes, I got hoed out.
because I didn't go into this week with my crons like up to snuff and got punished for that repeatedly because I didn't really re-roll anything because I was like, all right, let's build a bunch of level 9s to try and pick through what I want to re-roll. This is what I normally do, right? The difference is that I'm used to having, oh man, like, God, how do I phrase some of these things? I have historically remodded significantly for GAC via versus TW. So I've had two different loadouts, which I no longer really have as much. There are some characters I remod specifically because they are more important for 3v3, like their survivability, their damage, whatever, etc. So historically, I have been able to struggle bust through first week of 3s without having my crons optimized. My laziness / unwillingness / uncooperative mods / not enough free time to remod led me to a situation where I just got punished over and over and over for not having the right level 3s and 6s with my level 9s. Yeah. Oh, this was completely self-inflicted. All the damage I did to myself in all these fights was completely self-inflicted, and I copped to that. And hopefully I have fixed a lot of this for week 2, including having my Magma Guard or Magma Trooper modded correctly, and now my BAM is 1 speed faster than my bow again. So again, just lots of I was not prepared for this week at all and just like ate shit the entire week, and I lost one of them. But I should have lost the other 2 as well if you go look at my history. Just if anybody wants to go just have some lulls at my expense, go look at my history, because I ate shit every round.
Yeah, the second one, all right. You still dropped a 2,000 on him. It's not so bad. All right.
No, but that was with like 4 drops with like some solos. I'm just saying.
So what are you pulling together for week 2 then? What's the deal?
Oh, it's being more disciplined and actually doing my shit, like getting my crons worked. I just said I remodded some stuff. It's just getting my shit back together.
Okay.
It's been a while since I'm back up here. I'm out of practice. I'm rusty and honestly a bit lazy. And for those who know, they know. That. But I am relearning how to play this game to a degree because some things have changed since the last time I was here.
All right.
So yeah. There's a new learning curve, and I punished myself for not putting in the effort beforehand. So my takeaway is, be prepared. Oh, was that Scar? Be prepared.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. Channel my inner Scar. Mm-hmm. Be prepared. That's my lesson learned. That's my takeaway. Do the damn prep work before the week. Don't just be like, yeah, this was good enough for 5s, so it'll be good enough for 3s. Just don't be a dipshit. Don't be me.
Fair. I think that's advice we can all get behind.
Yeah.
Okay, TJ, how about you? Your takeaways, your final thoughts, your kernels of wisdom for the people.
So weird, man. I'm the last dude looking at all this. Realistically, I called it before, and this feels more evident than ever. But it's can you set? I guess we used to call it for Dagger, you and me, the Qui-Gon Jinn proof board. Can we set the Wampa proof board? I was looking at the data, and it supports it that without the dark side bulk, a lot of your teams really are impacted. Inquisitors versus the Balin, I think, is a good piece. What Balin can do also feels like a good piece. That's like, this really does impact how your teams are going to be relevant against what comps, right? Dagger called it out perfectly. The assumption that bulk with Treya made Queen Amidala a nothing burger, right? And both you and I task confirmed that, like, no, I did. It was just fine. But you come back to this week now, bulk not being gone, that penalizes a lot of those teams that took it for granted. And it's just making sure you understand that when we go into this week of what can you do.
Just make sure you're looking at this season's data. You don't have to rely inferring on last season now.
Not to interject, but my Treya was 71.8% armor going into this week.
That's what I think.
75 to 80 like I thought. It was 71.
But it's still the point that you can't take the blind assumption of the data. Make sure you're looking at it accurately. It can still do certain things. You just need to adjust your counters appropriately and make sure you play your resources correctly as well. And And I think with that, there are limited teams that I think really need to remain on defense. And I think we'll start to see that come out this week. And it's just having the preparation for those said teams. A la Queen Amidala is probably going to the light side bulk teams are the ones where it was like now replace the dark side bulk teams. And so I expect that to be the case. And how do you counter those teams accurately? Like Dagger made a great call out, and Tass, I watched you do something that seems to be very effective. It's a great use. And it's just doing that prep work to apply appropriately to create those new puzzles while still leaving yourself not hoed out, as we would say, which I'm very good at. And that's my big goal right now is how am I going to fork my opponent like we always talk about, and then also not leave myself hoed out.
Very fair. All right. Well, guys, we've made it to the end. It's the end of week 1. We are now in the GAC Open lock period for week 2. So we're some hours away from the match. Well, no. I'm sorry. The lock is closed. We already have matchmaking. That's right, because I already have it in Erodium. So, yeah, it's going to be good. I think I'll have at least one high-quality match this week. I'm looking forward to it. But, yeah. Thank you guys for joining us on the show. And yeah, if you're used to seeing me, you know that you can catch me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Tassinix. I'm also on YouTube Live now, Tassinix Gaming. If you check out the live tab, the announcements for that either way go out on my Discord. So if you're not part of my Discord community, click the link in the description, join, and stay in the know. Aside from that, if you enjoy watching the live broadcast, you want to see previous episodes and a whole bunch of other Slugger-related content, you got to go back to my YouTube, Tassinix Gaming, where we have such gems as the Set 20 Datacron guide that I made with Aesop Rock, #1 GAC player in the world. We've got the mod guide videos on characters and factions that you have been asking about and been interested in. My recent video, it's only a couple months old now, on GAC Omicron tier list, and a few other, interesting odds and ends, like, how to mod. If you're really interested in learning how to get serious about modding, there's put out a couple good videos on that, and more. So check that out over there. And, of course, it is a rebroadcasting point for this show, Plotting and Scheming, which is otherwise native to Spotify. But wherever you like listening to, your podcasts, find an episode of our show. There is an RSS feed link in the description. Plug that into your preferred podcast program and follow us there. Aside from that, if you like the show, you like what I'm doing here, you want to support what's going on, there's a few ways to do that. First off is, Cash App. That is $Tassinix. If you like PayPal, that is tassinix@gmail.com. And of course, if you want to get some enhanced tools for your GAC scouting, early access to some of my content, including Plotting and Scheming, and of course, exclusive access to just, come and hang out with me and my high-powered, extremely GAC obsessed friends on Discord, you have to check out my Patreon, patreon.com/Tassinix. For any upwardly mobile Grand Arena player, there is something there of interest for you. $5 a month gets you into the Tass House at VIP access level, where you do get the aforementioned early access to Plotting and Scheming. That comes out for my patrons Tuesday night, usually, maybe as late as Wednesday morning, depending on how cooperative YouTube is being. Our general audience on YouTube and Spotify is getting that 8 a.m. on Fridays. So either way, you get to see the show, but that early access can help you have a knowledge drop for that first round. Also, you do get early access to the Datacron set guides and the voice chat where I'm usually lurking. So pop on in and say hi. Thank you so much to Andrew, Banja, Deadpool Cal 28, JJ's Productions Twitch, Jobin4527, Johnny B. Ottawa, Miasmal, Mus Ross, Rays Malbus, Sam Vimes, Sheepdog 47, Squed, Stark Strategy Gamer, Sweens 14, and White Wolf. Moving on up to the $10 a month tier, VIP Access Plus, you get a bundled Patreon access to me and to OmegaBot. So at the start of every one of my streams, I show an OmegaBot report which gives an at-a-glance sense of what your opponent's offensive and defensive tendencies are about. Anybody can use it for free to get a report showing just the last week, and you get a handy, image to give you that view of it. But patrons can pull a report with any number of weeks going into the past. You also get a downloadable HTML version of the report with a lot of clickable links embedded in there that you can go right back into swugga.gg. It sorts out the fight, the matchup, gives you the details you're looking for on specific things. Again, it just helps save time on the scout. So thank you so much to Dobby, Esh Sotnikam, Snack Attack, and Striker. Now, moving up to $15 a month at VIP Access Premium, this is the Double Bot Bundle. Some say the greatest value in all of Swugga, because it gives you Patreon access to me, to OmegaBot, and to Hot Utils, the #1 tool for your mass mod management and loadout creation. A couple clicks can have you move between your Raid, TB, TW, Grand Arena mods. You can use it like TJ and Fatal do to remod their rosters every week. You can slice through a backlog of mods in seconds that you've just been accumulating for months, to say nothing of the high-powered functions for TW. Thank you so much to Argots, Arge for upgrading here recently, Duckstab, Dark Hug, Frick Frack Paddywhack, General Milan, Ibenek, Quig, Sir Boss, Sophus, The Lost Womp Rat, Wilco, and Zoltre. Thank you guys so much. And at the top of the heap here, in Jester's Club Elite, the one, the only Nomad's Reaper, this man pops in from time to time, drops hundreds of subs, thousands of biddies, incredibly generous support over the years. Thank you so much, sir. And of course, our special thanks. First, to Yoda Force, one of my original supporters way back in the day. Bought me this mic that I'm speaking to you on right now, and even though he has long since quit the game, we wish him well from the other side. To Mrs. T, my wife, thank you for all you do in the background, whether it be supplying me alcohol so that I may debase myself on stream with friends, or, just merely run interference, stopping our daughter from tearing apart our home brick by brick while I am again tied up, debasing myself on stream with friends. So thank you so much for all of that support in the background. And of course, to my co-hosts here on Plotting and Scheming, Dagger, TJ, Sasha Aisha, and Fatal. Gentlemen, as always, it's a pleasure and a privilege to record our show together. I learn from you guys every week. Hopefully, you pick up a kernel from me every once in a while as well. But regardless, it's not about us. It's about the community. There's a lot of great discussion around what people learn from our show. So we're doing a good thing, and you guys are a huge part of this winning recipe. Wouldn't change a thing. Thank you all so much. Moving back over to the main scene, that's about it. It was a great week. Going 3-0, is a rare enough thing, especially for me. So we'll see. It's probably going to be at least a bump or two on the road. Arsenal and Zid are fine opponents each, so we'll see how this week turns out. Look for me Wednesday night to stream round 1 of this week, and of course, until next time, it's been real. It's been awesome. It's been real awesome. Take care.